Okay, so how do I model value and comfort, and how do I calibrate them? This is the core of what I'm thinking during an actual conversation or interaction with a woman. And I want to give you sort of two models. First is the sort of filling up the cups model, which is the old value comfort model. It's very, very useful. And then I want to give you my new 5-layer model, which really goes deep onto what all this is. The filling up the cups model is this. Basically, every girl has her particular blueprint that she needs. So in order to sleep with, say, like a party girl or whatever, you may need like an 8 out of 10 value and like a 3 out of 10 comfort, because she doesn't need that much comfort. Whereas with like a religious girl from a small town who's known the same people her whole life, you may only need like 5 out of 10 value, but you may need like 7 out of 10 comfort or 8 out of 10 comfort, right? And so you need to get the glasses kind of filled to the right level for that particular girl. However, it doesn't really matter if you overfill the glasses. If you have too much value, that's not a bad thing. Too much comfort's not a bad thing per se. Okay, there's no such thing as too much value, too much comfort in a vacuum. The whole thing is that over time, as you're adding elements of value, you'll fill up one glass. Over time, as you're adding elements of comfort, you'll fill up the other glass. And the ratio for that, for the final position, for where you end up, doesn't matter. Okay? However, the ratio that you're conveying when you get to know the girl matters tremendously. Okay? So the end state, it doesn't matter. You just have to fill up the glasses. But how you fill up the glasses matter, and here's why. The girl is characterizing you or categorizing you as one of 5 different types of guys. Okay? It's really one of 4, and then the 5th is like she's confused and can't categorize you. But she's basically putting you in a box. And the boxes are these. Box number 1 is the guy who is very comfortable, very nice, arouses no emotion in her, and is not even considered as a sexual prospect. Box number 2 is the guy who is like the provider male, kind of like nice, safe, secure, beta male type of guy, but who she does feel some emotion to, she does feel affection to, you're friendly, and there's a little bit of a sexual spark, enough that like she's interested in you in that category. Okay? The next box we'll deal with at the end. That's like the next on the gradient. We'll get to that one last. If you go a little further over, you have the lover box, which is now there's a lot of value, still enough comfort that she feels like not unsafe with you, doesn't feel in physical danger, doesn't feel like you're just going to like exploit her and cheat on her and that kind of stuff. But she's very aroused by you, very interested in you, so much so that she wants to sleep with you even if she thinks there's a chance you might leave her. Right? When you're in the provider box, if she thought you would leave her, she would not sleep with you. When you're in the lover box, she likes you so much, she sees so much value, she would sleep with you even under the condition that you might leave her. And then if you go further down the value spectrum, like tons and tons and tons of value, or basically high value, low comfort ratio is what it's going to kind of come down to. Now she just doesn't trust you. Because either you're so high value, she doesn't even believe you'd be with her, or there's so little comfort, she just thinks you're like a criminal or a sociopath or something like that, and she just cannot like even like convince herself or fool herself into thinking that you're safe or comfortable. So she'll just reject it for her own safety. Okay? And then finally you have this box in the middle. And the box in the middle is interesting because the 2 boxes here, the provider box and the lover box, you can definitely very much have success with women from either one as long as you're like consistently in that box. Now, if you're in this middle box, you can definitely still have a lot of success because you're on the right place on the gradient. The problem is this. The girl doesn't know how to categorize you, and she'll act very differently and sleep with, under different conditions, the lover versus the provider. And so when you're in that middle box, she's definitely thinking of sleeping with you. She's definitely interested in sleeping with you. But unless she can put you in one or the other of the lover or provider boxes, she's going to have a hard time because she's just going to be confused, and her biology won't know how to react to you the proper way. And what will usually happen here is the girl will be very aroused, and things will be going in a sexual direction, but she'll tend to give you tons and tons and tons and tons of shit tests because she doesn't know where you are. And she's hoping that either you'll blast through the shit tests and put yourself in that lover box and then she can just be aroused and sleep with you, or she's hoping that you'll like kind of like be ashamed and like beta yourself to the shit test and put yourself in the provider box, and then she'll feel comfortable and safe around you, and she may or may not sleep with you, but if she does, she'll sleep with you with full comfort, and she'll at least feel better about the whole situation. So if you're in that middle range, you definitely can sleep with girls, but they're going to be giving you tons and tons of shit tests, and most of the time, by the time you sleep with them, they'll put you in one or the other of the other boxes. So that box, it's effective, but it's very uncomfortable for the girl, so she's going to resist it. You're going to get in a lot of frame battles there. Because again, she doesn't know what you're conveying. There's some incongruence, like certain things are lover, certain things are provider, and she can't figure it out. So those are kind of the 5 categories you can put yourself into. And you want to, of course, be putting yourself into, in my opinion, the ultimate one is the lover box. And the reason is you can sleep with a girl from lover or provider. But from the lover box, you can sleep with a girl a lot faster. And once you're high value, you can always convey more comfort down the line. That's a lot easier to do because time builds comfort. So if you're just high value and she likes hanging out with you, the comfort's going to come naturally over time. Whereas if you're kind of not as much value and there's a lot of comfort, it's going to be hard to make her completely like reassess you and view you as a different category and a different innately different person. Because again, remember, lover is about what you could provide. Provider is about what you're willing to provide in terms of what you can give to her. So if you show that you're willing to provide a lot, but there's just not that much there, it's going to be hard to convince her there's more there. But if there's a lot there, and then she just sees a greater willingness down the line, it's easier to have a more robust relationship from there. So I think it's usually better to start off from the lover box. But that said, if you're fairly new in game and you're getting into relationships from the relationship provider box, I think that's totally fine. Me personally, I learned to game first from the provider box. I actually slept with 60 girls before I had a single one-night stand. Right? So I was meeting girls, getting phone numbers, taking them on dates, that kind of stuff, and going a very provider-y type of a role, and I got very good at it. And then years later, I learned to be really, really good in that lover role and then really, really crush it. So either one is totally acceptable and either one can get you great results. But that's my recommendation in terms of what's optimal. And then you'll know that you're in that middle box when you're getting a lot of shit tests. And so you want to think to yourself, what's she thinking? What box is she putting me in? And which way is the easier way to go? Is it easier for me to like play up the lover role and just like blast through the shit test? Or is it easier for me to build more comfort? And then also with respect to that, you need to think about the girl's blueprints. And like, again, some girls need more value and more comfort, okay? So as you're building the value and comfort, the ratio matters because that determines what box she's perceiving you in. But the end result of like sleeping with her and having a relationship is just that you filled them up. You filled both glasses up high enough, if that sort of makes sense.